This is a revenge story about a woman who discovers that her 17-year marriage was never the love story she believed it was. It was a carefully built trap. They say no woman can check her husband's phone and still walk away smiling. And if you feel deeply loved, maybe it only means you have not looked at his phone lately. Her name is Minori Kisaragi. This year marks the 17th year since she and her husband, Yudai Kisaragi, fell in love. Back in high school, Yudai once picked up her bracelet and returned it to her. That small moment became the beginning of their relationship. Years later, they got married, had a young son, and built what looked like a happy family. For Minori, that family was everything. But one day, she sees a message on Yudai's phone. A mysterious person is asking him to meet at a jewelry store the next day. Minori freezes. Yudai had clearly told her he was going to a company dinner. Before she can process it, Yudai rushes back home and takes his phone away. Feeling uneasy, Minori goes to her close friend Sarah Hori, who is also a lawyer. Sarah tells her not to overthink it. Two suspicious messages alone cannot prove that Yudai is cheating. When Minori returns home, she sees Yudai and their son preparing a cute homemade omelet rice for her. For a moment, that warm family scene melts her suspicion. Maybe she is just imagining things. Maybe her husband is still the man she believes in. That night, lying in bed, Minori's romantic feelings begin to return. Then Yudai's phone vibrates again. Minori quietly picks it up. It is the same mysterious person, reminding Yudai about tomorrow's meeting at the jewelry store. This time, Minori cannot ignore it. The next evening, she drives after Yudai and waits outside the jewelry store. A young girl runs past, and for 1 second, Minori thinks maybe that is the person, but it is only a false alarm. Then she sees him, a male high school student. Yudai and the boy laugh together while choosing a necklace, looking far too close. Minori's mind goes blank. Is this what her husband is into? She follows them to a restaurant. Watching their interaction, she realizes they do not look like lovers. They look more like father and son. Then a woman walks in. Her name is Riko Miyake. She sits naturally beside Yudai. A birthday cake is brought out, and Yudai gently places the necklace around her neck. The three of them look exactly like a family. Still, Minori does not have enough proof to confirm the affair. A few days later, she follows Yudai to a hair salon. Just as expected, the hairstylist is that woman, Riko. Yudai openly flirts with her, and Minori quietly takes photos through tears. After the haircut, Yudai even goes straight to Riko's home for dinner. At that moment, Minori finally accepts the truth. Her husband is cheating. Later, while Yudai is showering, Minori tries to unlock his phone. Their wedding anniversary does not work. Yudai's birthday does not work. Their son's birthday does not work. Even Minori's own birthday does not work. Then Yudai suddenly calls out, scaring her badly. She still has not found the password, but she has no choice except to stop. The next day, Sarah calls with a new discovery. Yudai's affair partner looked familiar because she went to the same high school as Minori and Yudai. Her name is Riko. Minori feels the air leave her chest. Were Yudai and Riko secretly involved all the way back in high school? She is almost too afraid to think about it. That night, Minori gets Yudai's phone again. This time, she wonders if the password could be Riko's birthday, the same date they celebrated at the restaurant. She enters it. The phone unlocks. Inside the photo album are endless pictures of Yudai, Riko, and Wataru Miyake, the teenage boy she saw earlier. For 17 years, her husband has had another family. Sarah suggests collecting evidence, claiming compensation, and filing for divorce. But money alone cannot calm Minori's rage. She does not just want to leave, she wants to punish these shameless people herself. And her first target is the person Riko loves most, her son. A few days later, Minori becomes a substitute teacher at Wataru's cram school. She looks at the high school boy with quiet meaning. Her revenge has officially begun. The boy's name is Wataru Miyake. From the moment he sees Minori, he cannot take his eyes off her. His feelings are painfully easy for Minori to read. After class, Minori uses career guidance as an excuse to get closer to him. She helps him think about university applications, speaks gently to him, and even fixes his tie in a way that feels just a little too personal. It may be deliberate, but Wataru has no experience with this kind of attention. He is completely flustered. To motivate him to study harder, Minori promises that if he reaches his goal, he will get a reward. She also discovers they both like the same video game, so she sets the reward as an in-game item. Wataru thinks he has found someone who truly understands him, but the truth is, Minori researched everything in advance so she could get close to him. Meanwhile, Yudai is still secretly visiting Riko's home. He even says proudly that Minori is too slow and clueless to ever discover the affair. He has no idea that his so-called clueless wife is already discussing revenge with Sarah. Still, at the end of their conversation, Sarah advises Minori to talk to Yudai directly. After all, they have spent 17 years together. For a moment, Minori softens. The next day, she tells Yudai that she wants to talk after he comes home from work. Maybe, she thinks, she can give him one final chance. At the cram school, Wataru's grades improve, and Minori is genuinely happy for him. Then Yudai calls Wataru to encourage him. Minori takes the chance to ask whether the caller is his father. Wataru hesitates. He says the man is not his father, but someone who has taken care of him and his mother in his father's place. It turns out Wataru's parents separated before he was born. Since childhood, Yudai has always been there for Wataru and his mother. Minori asks why that man never married his mother. Wataru struggles to answer. Just then, another teacher rushes in and says Wataru's mother has collapsed and been taken to the hospital. Wataru grabs his bag and runs out. Soon after, Yudai texts Minori, saying he has to work late and will not be home for dinner. Minori instantly understands. His overtime must mean he is going to the hospital to see Riko. Even knowing she may see something that breaks her again, Minori rushes there too. Outside the hospital room, Minori quietly listens to Riko and Wataru talking. At first, Yudai does not appear. For 1 second, Minori almost believes he really might be working late. Then, Yudai rushes in, breathless and worried. His entire focus is on Riko. He does not notice his wife standing behind him. Seeing her husband care so deeply for another woman cuts through Minori like a knife. Late that night, Yudai finally comes home. Minori reminds him that they were supposed to talk. Yudai barely cares. He says they can talk next week. Minori imagines stabbing him in her mind, but outwardly, she continues playing along. At the cram school, Wataru remains enthusiastic about Minori. He sees her as his role model and plans to apply to the same university and major she once attended. He also asks about her previous life. Minori says she used to work at a university, but quit after getting married. When Wataru hears that she is married, his expression immediately falls. His disappointment is impossible to hide. Minori can tell he has feelings for her. Then she casually asks how his mother is doing. Wataru answers without thinking. His mother is pregnant. The news hits Minori like thunder. Yudai and Riko have gone even further than she imagined. After work, Minori runs through the rain until she catches a cold. She takes several days off from the cram school. One day, after grocery shopping, she runs into Wataru near her home. He says he has been waiting there because he was worried. He wanted to know why she had not come to class. His feelings are almost too obvious. Minori uses the chance to ask more about Riko and Yudai. Wataru says that when his mother became pregnant, that man was extremely happy. He even promised that one day he would marry her. Minori cannot keep listening. She uses dinner as an excuse and says goodbye. When Yudai comes home that night, Minori invents a story about a friend whose husband cheated and uses it to test him. Yudai puts on a perfect moral performance. He acts righteous, calm, and flawless. He even becomes extra sweet to Minori, clearly trying to lower her guard. But Minori is no innocent rabbit. If she has to suffer, Yudai and Riko will not live peacefully either. So she deliberately visits Riko's hair salon to see how Riko reacts. The moment Riko sees Minori, her smile stiffens. She is terrified that the affair may have been exposed, but she can only pretend nothing is wrong and cut Minori's hair. During the appointment, Minori intentionally shows off how sweet her marriage is. She even raises the bracelet on her wrist and lies that Yudai recently bought it for her. Every word is meant to shake Riko's mind, and it works. Riko hides in the bathroom, full of insecurity and self-doubt. Later, the conversation turns to Riko's high school son. Minori acts mysterious and says high school boys are at an age where they become interested in romance. Then she tells Riko to keep a close eye on her son. The warning lands exactly where Minori wanted. That night, Riko texts Yudai and asks him to come over. Minori notices that Yudai wants to go out, so she deliberately makes him bathe their son. Riko is left alone. It is only a small punishment, but for Minori, it is a beginning. When Minori returns to the cram school, Wataru immediately compliments her new hairstyle. He has even started wearing men's cologne to seem more mature. Minori notices everything but says nothing. Instead, she tells him he can choose another reward. That night, Wataru messages Minori inside their game. He says the reward he wants is to meet her on the weekend. Just then, Riko suddenly enters his room. Wataru is startled and quickly closes the computer before leaving to take a bath. Riko notices the cologne and feels something is wrong. Then she secretly opens his computer. She sees messages between Wataru and a game friend. They have arranged to meet in person. When she remembers Minori's warning, Riko starts worrying that her son is falling into an early romance. At home, Minori continues acting like a good wife, so Yudai will not realize she already knows the truth. Even at night, she forces herself to sleep beside him while hiding her disgust. Finally, the day of the meeting with Wataru arrives. Minori quietly releases her charm. When Wataru accidentally gets milkshake on his lips, she smiles, stands up, and gently wipes it away with her finger. The small gesture completely overwhelms him. Riko, still worried about her son, tries to catch them together. She had seen that Wataru's game friend used the nickname KM, which looks very similar to Minori's initials. Afraid that Minori is targeting her son, Riko rushes to the cafe. But by the time she arrives, Minori and Wataru have already gone to the beach. There, Minori asks again about Wataru's mother and the man she is dating. After hesitating, Wataru finally admits that his mother's boyfriend seems to have another family. But his mother believes that if the man can make her and Wataru happy, maybe the affair is not so wrong. Besides, Wataru says, if a man cheats, maybe it means something was already wrong in his original family. Hearing that twisted logic, Minori snaps. She says she hates people who justify cheating. Wataru is shocked by her reaction and asks what happened, so Minori tells him part of her past. Her mother once became involved with a married man. As the child born from that relationship, Minori grew up without a father and was judged by the neighbors around her. After her mother died in a car accident, people still talked cruelly behind her back. Minori was raised by her grandfather and grew up carrying guilt for being an illegitimate child, even though she had never chosen any of it. That is why she cannot tolerate infidelity. Then, right in front of Wataru, Minori calls Yudai. Wataru freezes. Is his mother's lover actually Minori's husband? He cannot believe it. He asks whether Minori knew everything from the beginning. Minori does not deny it. In her anger, she tells him that his family destroyed her happiness. She says she hates Wataru and his mother. She says every bit of kindness and closeness toward him was fake. On the way home, Minori regrets revealing the truth so early, but she is already prepared to burn everything down. In the park, Yudai is playing with his son when Riko appears. After being repeatedly disturbed by Minori, Riko warns Yudai that his wife is not as naive as he thinks. That night, Wataru logs into the game again and discovers that Minori has deleted him. For days, he becomes distracted. His grades fall. Then, when a female classmate tells him that Minori has resigned from the cram school, he is even more devastated. He leaves the classroom in silence. Meanwhile, Minori shows Sarah a message Yudai just sent. Yudai says he wants to talk properly tonight. Sarah guesses that Yudai is preparing to confess and ask for divorce. Maybe Wataru has already told him everything. Sure enough, in front of Riko, Yudai promises that he will soon bring up divorce with Minori. But when Yudai comes home, he apologizes first. Minori looks at him with quiet contempt. His reaction is almost exactly what Sarah predicted. Lower the posture, act pitiful, win sympathy, reduce the divorce settlement. But then Yudai says something unexpected. He says their son noticed that Minori had been crying lately. He says he reflected on himself and realized he had not done enough as a husband. Minori is confused. What does their son have to do with this? So Yudai is not asking for divorce? Does that mean Wataru never told his family? Or is Wataru actually on Minori's side? For now, Minori has no answer. The next day, Minori goes out with her son and runs into Wataru, who has come looking for her. At that exact moment, Yudai comes home from work. The three of them freeze. It is a perfect disaster. Yudai calmly calls Wataru by name, but inside he is panicking. He has no idea why Wataru is with Minori. Minori reacts quickly and pretends not to know him. She asks Yudai who the boy is. Yudai says Wataru is the son of a friend. Wataru follows the lie and pretends it is his first time meeting Yudai's wife. Not one of the three tells the truth, but somehow, each lie protects a different secret. After Minori walks away, Yudai takes Wataru aside to talk. When Yudai comes home later, Minori asks what they discussed. Yudai casually makes up an excuse. Minori can tell he is lying. Then her son suddenly asks for milk. Minori goes out to buy some and unexpectedly finds Wataru waiting near her door again. She asks what he wants. Wataru first apologizes for what he said at the beach. He says cheating can never be forgiven. Then he tells her that during his talk with Yudai, Yudai seemed very serious about marrying his mother. He warns Minori to prepare herself. Even though she already knows what kind of man Yudai is, hearing it still makes her cry. At that moment, she sees Wataru as her only lifeline. If he stands with her, she still has a chance to win. After buying milk, Minori returns home and hears Yudai angrily talking on the phone. She asks who he was calling. Yudai lies and says it was work. Minori does not believe him. Yudai senses that Minori is acting strange and worries that she may have discovered the affair, so he decides to use kindness as camouflage. On their dating anniversary, he takes Minori out to dinner. They leave their son with his mother, Hiromi, and perform the image of a loving couple at the restaurant. After a while, Minori receives a call. Her grandfather's condition has worsened and he has been taken to the hospital. She rushes there immediately. The doctor tells her that her grandfather does not have much time left. Knowing that his days are numbered, her grandfather finally reveals the truth about her birth. Minori's biological father is Susumu Etsuki, the president of Etsuki Jewelry. Years ago, when he learned Minori's mother was pregnant, he abandoned both mother and daughter. After Minori's mother died, Susumu left a large sum of support money for Minori, but her grandfather hated that man, so he hid the truth from her all these years. To keep her grandfather from worrying, Minori does not tell him that Yudai is cheating. On the way home from the hospital, she suddenly remembers Yudai's earlier phone call about money. A terrible thought forms. Did Yudai already know who her father was? Has he been after her fortune from the start? When she arrives at her mother-in-law's home to pick up her son, she discovers Yudai has already taken him home. Seeing Minori's lost expression, Hiromi asks about her grandfather and warmly comforts her. She even says she will go buy food for Minori. Then Minori sees a message from Yudai pop up on Hiromi's phone. It says that once the money arrives, he will make his move. While Hiromi is out, Minori opens her computer. What she finds is worse than anything she imagined. Hiromi, Yudai, and Riko have a group chat. The name of the chat is New Family. Scrolling back, Minori sees Hiromi shamelessly writing that she cannot wait to live with her new family member, Riko. There are warm photos of Hiromi, Yudai, and Riko together, smiling like a real family. Minori finally understands. The mother-in-law who always cared for her so tenderly has betrayed her too. She not only knows about Yudai's affair, she accepts Riko as the real family. Then Minori thinks again about Yudai's call, asking when the money would arrive. So they already knew about her background. They married her only to wait for her money. The messages keep appearing on the computer. Hiromi laughs that because Minori left dinner to visit her grandfather, she does not have to give Minori the brooch she planned to buy. She can save it for Riko instead. Riko thanks her excitedly. Yudai asks how things are going, and Hiromi proudly says she is still playing the role of the perfect mother-in-law, so she went out to buy cake for Minori. Reading their disgusting conversation, Minori breaks down. 17 years of love were wasted on a fake family. These people are unforgivable. When she hears the door open, Minori wipes away her tears. Now she is ready to face the evil mother-in-law. First, she needs to know how Hiromi learned about her birth. Minori pretends to be curious and asks about Hiromi's younger years. Hiromi has no guard up around the daughter-in-law she still thinks is naive. She says that after divorcing Yudai's father, she had to raise her young son alone. To survive, she worked as a maid in the home of a powerful company president. There, she became friends with another woman. Unfortunately, that friend became involved in an affair with someone else's husband. When the affair was exposed, the woman lost her job and later died in a car accident. Minori listens carefully. That story matches her mother's past perfectly. If the place where Hiromi worked was the home of Susumu Etsuki, then everything makes sense. And Minori is right. When Hiromi was young, she worked as a maid in Susumu Etsuki's home. She also became friends with Minori's mother, Kuma, Kumi, who worked there too. Then one day, Hiromi accidentally discovered that Kumi and Susumu were having an affair. Jealousy consumed her. They were both working women. Why did Hiromi have to do the lowest, hardest work, while Kumi seemed to have a chance to rise into another world? Filled with resentment, Hiromi leaked the affair to a magazine. That exposure led to Kumi being fired. Hiromi also lost her job because she had betrayed the Etsuki household. Years later, Hiromi heard that Kumi had died and left a large inheritance to Minori. Her jealousy returned. Then, by chance, she learned that Yudai and Minori attended the same high school. So she pushed Yudai to pursue Minori. If he married her, their family could legally gain access to Minori's fortune. At that time, Yudai only had eyes for Riko. He told his mother he already liked someone else. But Hiromi's values had twisted everything. She was the true source of the poison. And Yudai, who had been afraid of poverty for too long, eventually listened. For money, he deliberately approached Minori and became her boyfriend. After he started working, he met Riko again. She was the woman he had always wanted, and because his mother had taught him that he could simply keep both women, Yudai began moving back and forth between two families. Back in the present, Minori returns home and looks at Yudai still pretending to be a good husband. Using their dating anniversary as an excuse, she asks whether he has truly loved her during these 17 years. Yudai says many empty things, but in the end, all he says is that he is grateful to her. Not love, gratitude. Looking at her surprisingly honest husband, Minori almost laughs through her tears. The next day, she goes to Sarah. To prevent Yudai from taking her assets, Sarah promises to help Minori divorce as quickly as possible. Meanwhile, Yudai assures Riko that once Minori's shares are transferred into his name, he will divorce her. He even talks about changing his son's family name after the boy starts elementary school. Riko suddenly looks alarmed. That night, she checks Wataru's school guidance form and sees Minori's signature as his counselor. Now Riko understands. While she was helping steal Minori's husband, Minori had already entered her own home through her son. The next day, Riko and Wataru have a fierce argument over Minori. Like many teenagers, Wataru loses his temper and threatens to leave home. Riko tells him to wake up. Minori is only using him to get revenge on her. Wataru says he already knows. Even after learning Minori lied to him, he still protects his teacher, because he knows the person who did wrong first was his mother. After arguing with Riko, Wataru packs a bag and leaves home in anger. In the rain, he shows up at Minori's door. Seeing him soaked, Minori lets him use the bathroom to warm up. But as soon as she steps out, she realizes she forgot to give him a towel. When she opens the door again, she accidentally sees him shirtless. Embarrassed, Minori turns away and lowers her head while handing him the towel, wanting to leave as fast as possible. But Wataru suddenly hugs her from behind. Minori still has a strong moral line. She cannot take advantage of her own student. So she picks up the towel from the floor, gently dries his hair, and asks in the tone of a caring older sister what happened. Wataru admits he ran away from home. He says he would do anything for Minori, but just before his feelings turn into a confession, Minori stops him. Once he gets ready, she immediately sends him out the door. She pulls the relationship back before it crosses a line. Not long after, the doorbell rings again. The visitor is Kanon Muto, a classmate who has always liked Wataru. She saw Wataru enter and leave Minori's home. After imagining the worst, her heart is broken. She warns Minori not to get involved with Wataru anymore. If Minori continues, Kanon says she will expose everything. Feeling wronged and guilty, Minori can only go to her grandfather's hospital bed and pour out her pain. Her grandfather weakly opens his eyes and tells her to take care of herself from now on. Then he passes away. At the funeral, Hiromi and Yudai pretend to grieve. Then the chairman of Etsuki Group arrives. He is Susumu Etsuki, Minori's biological father. Hiromi and Yudai are startled, unsure why he has come. After the funeral, Minori speaks with Susumu alone. She tells him she already knows about his past with her mother. She also heard from her grandfather that on the day her mother died, Kumi had been trying to see him. Now Minori wants to know what really happened. Susumu begins remembering. When he was young, he first saw Kumi, a sales employee under his company group, and fell in love with her at first sight. He was trapped in a loveless business marriage and longed for real love from Kumi. Kumi knew Susumu was married, but she still fell for him and became his lover. Not long after, Kumi announced she was pregnant. Strangely, their affair was exposed at almost the same time. Susumu's father spent a large amount of money to suppress the report and threatened Susumu until he agreed to leave Kumi. The next time they met was 5 years later. Kumi broke their promise never to see each other again and came looking for him. She begged him to meet their daughter, Minori, because Minori's birthday wish a few days earlier had been to see her father, but Susumu cruelly refused. Kumi, unwilling to give up, chased after his car into the street. Then a speeding truck hit her. Hearing this, Minori can barely believe it. Her mother's death was tied to her own childhood wish. Seeing Minori's pain, Susumu says he will do everything he can to make it up to her. When Minori returns home, she tells Yudai and Hiromi the truth. She is the daughter of Susumu Etsuki, the president of Etsuki Group. Yudai and Hiromi pretend to be shocked and concerned. Minori plays along. A few days later, Hiromi goes to work as a housekeeper like usual, but every employer fires her for a different reason. In one day, she loses all her clients. At the same time, Yudai suddenly learns at work that their biggest client, Etsuki Group, has ended all business with them without explanation. His bosses pressure him non-stop. Before he can even catch his breath, Wataru appears at the office. In front of everyone, Wataru exposes Yudai's affair with Riko. Then he asks Yudai to break up with his mother, because Wataru knows Yudai can never give Riko the happiness she wants. After Wataru exposes Yudai's affair in front of the entire office, Yudai completely loses control. Instead of reflecting on what he has done, he lashes out and says terrible things about Wataru and Riko. That moment finally destroys whatever respect Wataru had left for him. For years, Wataru had seen Yudai as a father figure. But now, looking at the man's ugly reaction, Wataru finally understands who Yudai really is. Heartbroken, he turns and leaves. Only after Wataru is gone does Yudai realize how much damage has been done. The affair is now public. His co-workers start avoiding him. The office, once a place where he could pretend to be successful, becomes another place where everyone knows the truth. Meanwhile, Hiromi, who has lost her housekeeping jobs, begins thinking back over everything that happened. The more she thinks, the more suspicious she becomes. All the strange changes began after Minori met Susumu Etsuki. From that day on, everything started moving against her family. So Hiromi visits Minori's home. At first, the two women make polite small talk. Minori asks why Hiromi has been absent from work lately. Hiromi tries to keep her dignity and says she left because she has been physically and emotionally exhausted. Minori is surprised to hear that Hiromi quit. Then her emotions finally break through the mask she has been wearing. Hiromi sees the satisfaction in Minori's expression and instantly understands. Minori planned all of this. Minori does not deny it. She calmly admits that she already knew about Yudai and Hiromi's betrayal. She also told Susumu the whole truth, including the fact that Hiromi was the housekeeper who destroyed his relationship with Minori's mother years ago. After learning everything, Susumu agreed to help Minori fight back. Hiromi collapses to the floor as the truth sinks in. Minori then exposes another problem. Hiromi has been spending beyond her means for years, building up debts from beauty treatments, nail salons, and a lifestyle she could not afford. Now that she has lost her jobs, she has no way to pay anything back. Hiromi breaks down and attacks Minori verbally and physically. At that moment, Minori's son Tsubasa steps in. He tells his grandmother not to hurt his mother. Then he says clearly that he hates what Hiromi has done. Seeing her own son stand firmly on her side, Minori finally feels relieved. All her hesitation disappears. She decides to cut every tie with Yudai and his mother. After dealing with Hiromi, Minori receives a call from Wataru. He did exactly what Minori asked and exposed Yudai's affair, but he is suffering. No matter how cruel Yudai turned out to be, Wataru once treated him like family. Hearing the sadness in Wataru's voice, Minori feels a flicker of guilt. Then Wataru makes her a promise. He says he will always stand with her, and when he grows into a stronger adult, someone capable of protecting and supporting her, he will come see her again. Then he hangs up. After work, Yudai sits alone by the road, restless and miserable. He keeps calling Riko, but she does not answer. At the same time, Hiromi sends him a message saying that their plan has been exposed, but Yudai is too upset to notice it. When he returns home, he acts as if nothing has happened. During dinner, he tries to test whether Minori knows about the affair. Minori stays calm and asks him a simple question. Which food does he like better, hers or Riko's? Yudai freezes. He tries to explain, but Minori quietly reminds him to check his phone. Only then does he see Hiromi's message. Now he understands. Minori knows everything. Realizing how bad the situation is, Yudai starts making excuses. He says it was only a moment of weakness. Minori throws a stack of photos onto the floor. They are all evidence of his betrayal. She asks how he can call more than 10 years of deception a moment of weakness. Then she reminds him of his new reality. His position at work is in danger. His mother is drowning in debt, and soon he may be responsible for paying for the destruction his family caused. Yudai drops to his knees and cries, begging Minori to forgive him. Minori takes out the divorce papers. Yudai knows he cannot lose the financial security Minori represents, so he desperately insists that she is the only woman he truly loves. But even now, he still cannot fully face what he has done. Minori no longer believes him. She tells him that the next morning, she will take Tsubasa and leave. He should sign the papers quickly, but Minori does not think punishing Yudai is enough. The next day, she visits Riko. Riko immediately asks if Minori has come just to humiliate her. She also complains that Wataru has become emotionally attached to Minori and has now left home. Minori says Wataru's decision was not caused by her alone. Riko loses control and strikes Minori, blaming her for changing Wataru. She accuses Minori of crossing a line by getting close to her son. Minori slowly raises her head and asks one question: is betraying someone's marriage not also crossing a line? Then she says Riko is finally tasting what it feels like to lose someone precious. Riko tries to hit her again, but Minori stops her and strikes back. After that, Riko's anger collapses into desperation. She kneels and begs Minori to forgive her. She says she will do anything if Minori tells her where Wataru is. Just then, Wataru comes home. Riko rushes to him, asking if Minori hurt him. Even now, Wataru defends Minori. He says leaving home was his own decision. Then, in front of Riko, he admits that he has feelings for Minori. Riko almost breaks from the shock. She cannot understand why her son would care for the woman she sees as her enemy. Minori then brings up the haircut she once got at Riko's salon. She guesses Riko never told Yudai about it. Because Minori knows Yudai's nature, if Yudai learns that Riko and Wataru's situation could threaten his access to Minori's money, he will abandon Riko immediately. Riko refuses to accept this. In her mind, the person who is not loved is always the weaker one. She still believes Yudai will eventually choose her and build a family with her. Seeing how delusional Riko has become, Minori stops arguing. Then Wataru makes his position clear. If Riko cuts ties with Yudai, he will come back and live with her. He tells his mother that he has finally seen Yudai clearly. Yudai is not someone worth trusting. Now Riko has to choose, her son or Yudai. A few days later, Riko asks Yudai to meet. Yudai tries to comfort her, saying the chaos is over and they can finally be together openly. But Riko shocks him. She ends the relationship. Yudai is stunned. He says he has already finalized his divorce because he planned to marry her. Riko asks the question she has buried for years. Did he ever truly love her? She remembers how they met again after her divorce, how their hidden relationship began, and how Hiromi even helped fund her salon. But the cost was years of secrecy. Whenever Riko needed him, Yudai was never truly there. The more she thinks, the more she wonders if Yudai delayed divorce for so long because part of him still cared about Minori. Now, Riko has no expectations left. She walks away. Yudai tries to stop her and asks what will happen to her unborn child. Riko draws a clean line between them. He has no right to interfere with her life anymore. After being abandoned by both women, Yudai falls apart. He stops caring about his appearance and spends his days wandering and drinking, lost in bitterness. At work, a female coworker who once liked him approaches him. She says an affair is not always impossible to understand if two people truly love each other. Yudai mistakes this as sympathy and thinks he may have found a new chance. Excited, he moves closer and asks her to have dinner with him, but she steps away. Then she makes her real point clear. She says feelings are one thing, but hiding, deceiving, and disrespecting women are completely different. She did not come to comfort him. She came to tell him how low she thinks he has fallen. At the office, everyone sees that Yudai has been demoted. Most people are quietly relieved. Only one close coworker still eats with him. During lunch, the coworker asks whether Yudai married Minori only for money. Yudai stops pretending and admits it. At first, he married her for financial gain, not love. The coworker cannot understand it. No one throws away an entire life just for money, he says. After 17 years of marriage, Yudai must have felt something for Minori. Those words stay with Yudai. For the first time, he wonders whether the years he spent beside Minori turned into real love without him realizing it. When he returns to his empty home, he imagines Minori and Tsubasa there like before. The warmth of their old life flashes in front of him. Then he slips, falls, and is thrown back into the cold reality. Everything is gone. He lies on the floor and cries helplessly. A few days later, Minori returns to the apartment they once shared. The place is messy and lifeless. She does not care why Yudai called her back. She only asks why he still has not signed the divorce papers. Yudai drops all pride and begs for another chance. Minori is unmoved. She asks if living alone has made him lonely. Yudai apologizes sincerely. He admits that when he first approached her, it was because of money. But after all those years together, Minori became irreplaceable to him. He begs her again to repair their marriage. Minori is shaken, but she remembers why she started this revenge. She wanted Yudai to face his sins. She used Wataru and caused Yudai to lose his old position because she wanted him to understand what it feels like to be betrayed by someone trusted. Seeing him beg was supposed to be the ending she wanted. It should have saved her heart, but now all she feels is pain. She realizes that what she wanted all along was not to destroy people. She only wanted Yudai to value her. Hearing this, Yudai mistakes her pain for remaining love. He begs again to stay married. Minori asks if his feelings are real. Yudai swears he loves her now, but Minori says she never felt that love. As soon as the words leave her mouth, her emotions finally collapse. She laughs and cries at the same time. Because once trust is broken, even sincere words can sound like another lie. After leaving Yudai's home, Minori walks alone through the city. She removes the wedding ring she has worn for years. The mark on her finger is still clear, a reminder that some emotional ties cannot be erased just because the marriage ends. Minori decides to take Tsubasa and start over in another city. But just as she is about to board the train, Wataru calls her name. He begs her not to leave. He says that if she disappears, his life will lose its emotional anchor. Minori apologizes again. She admits that for revenge, she used Wataru's feelings and his identity. Wataru says he does not care. He believes Minori did nothing wrong. To him, she was the person who helped him grow up. The station announcement tells passengers to board. Minori does not answer his feelings. She turns and walks onto the train. Wataru keeps asking for an answer. Minori only turns back and tells him to live his own life well. Then they part. 7 years pass. Tsubasa has grown into a calm, thoughtful teenager. Minori now lives in a small seaside town called Suzuhara, near both forest and ocean. There she runs a popular cafe. She plans to live quietly with her son for the rest of her life. One day, Sarah visits to congratulate her on the cafe and encourages her to consider love again. Minori smiles in a way that tells Sarah there may already be someone. After some teasing, Minori admits there is a divorced man named Kotaro who often visits the cafe. Other parents in town can tell he likes her and quietly try to bring them together, but Minori says she is no longer at the age to chase romance. She also worries that Tsubasa might not want her to date. Just then, Tsubasa comes home from school and overhears them. He says he respects his mother's choices. As long as she is happy, he is happy. That same day, Minori goes to pick Tsubasa up from school. At a street corner, she unexpectedly runs into Wataru. Both of them are shocked. Neither expected to meet again in this town. It turns out, Wataru has been teaching in Suzuhara since September, and by coincidence, he is now Tsubasa's teacher. Tsubasa calls out to Minori, pulling her back to reality. Minori quickly avoids a longer conversation and walks to her son. Kotaro's Riko's daughter then takes Tsubasa by the arm, trying to create a moment for Kotaro and Minori to be alone. But Minori cannot think about Kotaro at all. Her mind keeps replaying her sudden reunion with Wataru. Wataru is just as shaken. Then he receives a call from his mother. Riko keeps asking when he will return home, her voice full of control. Even after 7 years, Wataru's life with his mother has never felt free. A little girl's voice comes through the phone, asking to play with her older brother. This girl is likely Reika, the daughter of Riko and Yudai. As for Yudai, after the affair destroyed his old job, he now works in a lower-paying position. Seeing coworkers eat homemade lunches and keep family photos on their desks, Yudai cannot help remembering the family he once had. The next day, Wataru visits Minori's cafe. He wants to continue the conversation they never finished. He tells her that after she encouraged him years ago, he entered Keio University's education program. After graduating, he chose to become a teacher in Suzuhara. Wataru is no longer the awkward boy from the cram school. He has become a mature adult. But when Minori meets his intense gaze, she instinctively looks away. She jokes that she is already a 40-year-old woman, while he is still young and should enjoy a normal youth and normal love. Wataru understands that she is trying to create distance. Just as he is about to tell her how he feels, Kotaro and several parents enter the cafe. Seeing Minori speak so naturally with Kotaro, Wataru swallows his confession. During the conversation, the parents praise Wataru's looks and say his mother must be beautiful. Then they happen to see a photo of his little sister Reika on his phone and pass it to Minori. To everyone else, Reika is just an adorable little girl. To Minori, the child is a living reminder of the past she tried to bury. The pain rushes back so suddenly that she loses focus and knocks over a cup. When Wataru sees Minori hurt, he blurts out concern without thinking about the distance they are supposed to keep. Kotaro immediately brings first aid supplies and carefully treats her injury. Wataru watches the two of them close together, unable to say anything. Far away in Tokyo, Riko hears Reika say she misses her older brother. Worried about Wataru, Riko searches online for information about Suzuhara. The moment she sees the results, her face changes. Back in Suzuhara, after the other parents leave, Kotaro sincerely asks Minori out. Wataru, sitting nearby, is stunned. What surprises him even more is that Minori accepts. He leaves alone, hurt and disappointed. That night, Wataru returns to the cafe because he cannot let it go. But Minori asks him not to visit her like this anymore. She says that when he called her by her first name in front of people, it could easily start rumors in a small town. She wants them to keep an appropriate distance. From now on, they should relate only as teacher and student-parent. Wataru refuses to give up. He follows her inside and asks if she is really planning to date Kotaro. Minori says her personal life is not something he should interfere with. Before Wataru can push further, Tsubasa walks in and interrupts them. Wataru quickly says he left something behind and leaves. The day of Minori's date with Kotaro arrives. They meet at the cafe. Kotaro speaks honestly. He says he divorced 6 years ago because he and his ex-wife had different values. Now he wants to date Minori seriously, with marriage and family in mind. Looking at his sincerity, Minori says they are not suited for each other. Then she tells him everything. Yudai's affair, Riko, the secret child, her revenge, everything she did to Yudai and Riko. Minori believes she has been too ruthless and does not deserve someone kind and honest like Kotaro. But after hearing her past, Kotaro only feels more sympathy for her. On the way back, he asks about her relationship with Wataru. His intuition tells him they are not simply a teacher and a student's parent. Minori tells him the truth. 7 years ago in Tokyo, she was Wataru's tutor at a cram school. Before they part, Kotaro says her honesty is exactly why he likes her more. He also promises that if they walk forward together, he will never hurt her. When Minori returns to the cafe, local parents start asking about her date with Kotaro. Wataru sits nearby, quietly listening. Minori says Kotaro confessed to her, but she is still thinking about it. Wataru finally relaxes a little. After the residents leave, Wataru tries to stay and talk with Minori, but she turns and walks inside firmly. Just then, Riko appears from the alley and calls out to her son. The moment Minori hears Riko's voice, she instinctively closes the cafe door and hides inside. but Riko has already found her. When Riko searched Suzuhara online, she saw posts about Minori's popular cafe. She became convinced Minori had moved there on purpose to stay close to Wataru. Over the years, Riko has blamed Minori for everything wrong in her life. Now she has come to this town to settle the past. Minori understands that her peaceful life is about to be shattered. No matter where she goes, Riko seems destined to find her. Wataru is furious at his mother for showing up without warning. He pulls her away from the cafe and asks why she came. Riko believes he chose Suzuhara because of Minori. Wataru explains that Minori opened her cafe only 2 months ago, while he started working in town half a year earlier. Their reunion was pure coincidence, but Riko does not care. Whether it was chance or planning, she refuses to let him have anything to do with Minori again. Wataru says he will no longer let his mother control his life. He even tells her that if she hurts Minori, he will cut ties with her completely. Afterward, Wataru returns to the cafe and apologizes for his mother. He also tells Minori what the past 7 years have been like. To make up for his mother's mistakes, he took on responsibilities at home, doing chores and caring for his little sister. Over time, Riko became deeply dependent on him. She monitored his schedule and clung to him emotionally. That suffocating control is why he left Tokyo and came to Suzuhara. Only after meeting Minori again does he feel like he is finally living according to his own heart. Minori is moved by how much she still means to him, but she does not know how to respond. She turns away, trying to avoid the feeling. Wataru steps forward and hugs her. For a moment, Minori lets herself sink into the warmth. Then Wataru reminds her of the promise from 7 years ago. Back then, when he reached his study goal, she promised him a reward. That reward was never fulfilled. So now, he asks her to go to an aquarium with him that weekend. Minori looks at him and accepts the ticket. But outside the window, a figure passes by. Someone has seen them embrace. Who was it? And will that person expose their complicated connection? For now, no one knows. In Tokyo, Yudai returns from work and calls toward the bedroom. No one answers. Over the past 7 years, Hiromi has fallen into a state of total self-neglect. She spends most of her days lying in her room, barely communicating with anyone. Then Riko arrives to see Yudai. At first, he thinks she has come to ask for child support for Reika. He quickly says money is tight this month and asks to delay payment. Reiko uses that as leverage. She says if he helps her with one thing, they can discuss the payment later. Yudai asks what she wants. Reiko tells him that Wataru and Minori are living in the same town, and their relationship seems dangerously close. She wants Yudai to help break them apart. Wataru is her only son. If Minori has captured his heart, Reiko is willing to do anything to fight back. Meanwhile, the day of Minori and Wataru's aquarium trip arrives. Minori goes to the bus stop, planning to reject him in person. She tells him to choose someone his own age and build a healthier, steadier relationship. Then she turns to leave. But Wataru refuses to let his feelings end like this. In public, he tells Minori that his feelings for her have never faded. Suddenly, rain starts pouring. The two take shelter in a small shed. Wataru is soaked, and Minori cannot help gently drying his hair with a handkerchief. The gesture reminds him of the night 7 years ago when he came to her home after running away. As they talk about the past, the atmosphere grows emotional. Wataru says Minori changed him. She taught him empathy and helped him understand other people's pain. He says both of them now carry guilt for hurting others, even though they were not the ones who caused the first betrayal. To him, they are alike. He wants them to stay beside each other and heal together. For the first time in years, Minori feels truly understood. Tears fall from her eyes. Their emotions finally break through, and they kiss. But the moment does not last. Tsubasa calls. He is worried because Minori went out without an umbrella. Hearing her son's voice immediately pulls Minori back to reality. She says it was only a moment of emotional confusion and leaves in a rush. That evening, Kotaro comes to the cafe. He admits that he saw Wataru and Minori embracing the night before. He was the figure outside the window. With the truth exposed, Minori tells Kotaro everything about her past with Wataru's family. She also says she will not pursue a relationship with Wataru, but Kotaro can see the truth. The two of them already care for each other. Even though he knows he has lost his chance, Kotaro sincerely wishes Minori happiness. At school, Tsubasa approaches Wataru. He says he overheard Wataru confessing feelings for his mother. Then he asks Wataru to let go. He does not want his mother to fall into emotional pain again. A few days later, Minori receives an anonymous threatening letter made from cut-out newspaper letters. Seeing it throws her into panic. From then on, every small sound makes her nervous. When Kotaro later walks into the cafe, Minori is so on edge that she falls to the floor in fear. Kotaro picks up the letter and immediately understands what happened. He promises he would never hurt her. Just then, Yudai suddenly enters the cafe. Minori asks Kotaro to leave first. She will face Yudai alone. On the way home from school, Tsubasa runs into Wataru and asks about his past with Minori. He also shows Wataru a photo of the threatening letter. Wataru is shocked and confused. Tsubasa says that ever since Wataru came to town, Minori's emotional state has gotten worse. Wataru feels guilty. He realizes that his deep attachment may be causing Minori endless stress. Inside the cafe, Minori shows Yudai the anonymous letter and asks if he is behind it. Yudai looks genuinely confused and says he knows nothing about it. He also says he would never have come to Suzuhara if Riko had not told him Minori was living there. When Minori realizes Yudai is still in contact with Riko, she finally loses control. Why does he keep appearing in her life? What does he want now? Yudai says he misses Minori and Tsubasa and could not stop himself from coming to see them. Minori is not moved. She tells him calmly that Tsubasa rarely talks about his father anymore. They have already started a new life. Then Yudai asks whether she really plans to spend her future with Wataru. He says Wataru is too young to give her a stable life. Those words pull Minori back to reality. She calls Wataru and asks him to come to the cafe. When he arrives, Wataru apologizes about the threatening letter, quietly assuming his mother may be responsible. But Minori did not call him to discuss the letter. She tells him she has decided to leave Suzuhara, and this time she is not leaving alone. Yudai steps out from the side and promises that from now on he will protect Minori and Tsubasa. Wataru is devastated. He cannot understand why Minori would forgive the man who hurt her so deeply. Minori says a child needs his biological father beside him as he grows. Wataru argues that he can protect Minori and Tsubasa too, but this is exactly the reaction Minori expected. She and Yudai are acting together to force Wataru to let go. Even though Minori secretly wishes he would stay close, she says cruelly that his love and obsession are only a burden to her. Wataru remembers Tsubasa's request. Finally, he turns and leaves in pain. Minori watches him walk away and breaks down in tears. Their bond seems completely severed. After that, Yudai waits near Tsubasa's school route. He follows from a distance, not daring to get too close. Tsubasa notices someone behind him and turns around. His eyes meet Yudai's. Yudai knows he has no right to disturb his son's peaceful life. All he wanted was one look, so he quietly leaves. Not long after, Kotaro visits the cafe again with news worse than the threatening letter. Someone has been posting anonymous rumors online, accusing Minori of inappropriate behavior and attacking her private life. The posts spread quickly. People online begin criticizing her. Some local residents say they will stop visiting the cafe. The identity of the person behind the rumors is unknown, but Minori's first suspect is Riko. Kotaro urges her to report it to the police. Minori hesitates because she worries an investigation might hurt Wataru. Kotaro can only feel frustrated. Even now, Minori is still thinking about other people first. Deeply troubled by the rumors, Minori makes a secret phone call for help. Who did she call? For now, the answer remains hidden. Wataru returns to Tokyo and finds his family home in terrible condition. Riko looks exhausted and defeated. She tells him what the past 7 years have been like. After the affair became public, people judged her everywhere. Her salon suffered. Reika was isolated at school. Riko says she has spent years walking carefully, never understanding why Minori had to take her son away too. Wataru does not accept that explanation. He says none of that justifies sending threatening letters. Riko looks confused. She says she never touched any letters. Then she shows Wataru that she has received the same type of anonymous letters herself. Now Wataru is certain his mother is not the sender. Before he returns to Suzuhara, Riko begs him to stay in Tokyo. Wataru refuses. He says he will not live with her anymore. After being rejected by her son, Riko loses her last emotional support and collapses in tears. On the way back, Wataru thinks about who the real culprit could be. The person knows both Riko's address and Minori's past. The person has a grudge against both of them. His suspicion turns toward Yudai. Back in Suzuhara, the online rumors make life harder for Minori and Tsubasa. Some local residents begin avoiding them. Kotaro's daughter notices Tsubasa looking down and comforts him. She says her own mother left when she was young, but she still cannot truly hate her. Then she tells Tsubasa not to trust rumors online. He should trust the family member he knows. Her words help Tsubasa untangle his heart. When he returns home, he comforts Minori. He says that even if classmates distance themselves from him, it does not matter. As long as his mother can live peacefully and happily, that is enough. He promises that no matter what happens, he will always stand by her. Minori is deeply moved by her son's kindness. With Tsubasa's support, her determination to find the real culprit becomes stronger. Then the person she called earlier contacts her back. The truth has been found. Minori settles Tsubasa safely at home and prepares to confront the person behind everything. At the same time, Wataru goes to Yudai's home. The moment he walks in, he accuses Yudai of sending the letters and spreading the online rumors. Yudai looks stunned and does not want to argue, but Wataru is certain. Then Hiromi slowly comes out of the bedroom. She is furious at Yudai, saying she cannot believe he would be so cowardly and use such dirty methods for revenge. She strikes him and tells him to turn himself in. Mother and son begin arguing and struggling. Just then, Minori arrives. Everyone is shocked to see her. Minori turns to Hiromi and says the real person behind the threatening letters and online rumors is not Yudai. It is Hiromi. Hiromi pretends not to understand. Minori explains that she asked her biological father for help. Through proper investigation, they traced the anonymous online posts. Every malicious post came from Hiromi's personal computer. Hiromi still denies it. Then Minori takes out the threatening letter. There are clear fingerprints on it. With the truth exposed, Hiromi finally stops pretending. She says she only did what she believed was justice. For 7 years, she has felt as if she were trapped in hell. After the affair scandal, every workplace treated her coldly. No matter where she went, people judged her and she could not keep a job. Without work and income, she fell into despair. Then one day, she overheard Riko telling Yudai that Minori was living peacefully in Suzuhara. That peace made Hiromi furious. If her own life was ruined, then Minori should not be allowed to live happily either. As for targeting Riko too, that was simply jealousy. She could not stand seeing Riko live better than she did. Then Hiromi blames everything on Yudai. She says she planned to put all the blame on him. If he had not cheated, Minori would not have divorced him, and Hiromi would not have fallen so low. Minori rejects that excuse. Yudai did wrong, but Hiromi encouraged and enabled him from the beginning. Then Minori raises her phone. She recorded Hiromi's entire confession. That recording can be used as key evidence. Seeing that she has nowhere left to run, Hiromi loses control. She grabs a knife and rushes toward Minori. Wataru immediately steps in front of her. For one terrifying second, Minori thinks Wataru has been hurt. But then Wataru realizes he is unharmed. They turn and see Yudai holding the blade with his bare hand. He saved both Minori and Wataru. Yudai finally wakes up. He tells his mother to stop. He says the reason their family collapsed is not Minori. It is them. They destroyed Minori's life. They are the ones who need to reflect and atone. Seeing even her own son stand against her, Hiromi spirals further and runs outside. A car horn suddenly sounds. Everyone rushes out, afraid she has done something reckless. The person who gets out of the car is Susumu. Even now, Hiromi refuses to repent. In front of Minori's biological father, she still blames Minori for everything. In the end, Susumu's security staff take Hiromi away to face legal consequences. Yudai says he will go with them to the police station. He promises that from now on, he will keep his mother under control and never let her disturb Minori again. Looking at Yudai, who finally seems to understand his guilt, Minori thanks him sincerely. She also wishes him peace in the future. At that moment, the two of them finally let go of the past. After this life or death incident, Minori and Wataru's feelings grow stronger. Just as Wataru is about to formally confess, Riko calls him. Her voice is unstable, and she claims she may do something dangerous to herself. Then, the call cuts off. Wataru panics and rushes to find her with Minori. When they arrive, the scene looks chaotic, but Riko suddenly appears behind Wataru and makes a bitter joke about how slowly he came. She had used a dangerous threat to force her son to come back to her. Wataru is furious and asks what she is trying to do. Riko finally opens up. When she was young, she loved Wataru's biological father, but after she became pregnant, he abandoned her. As Riko speaks about that pain, Minori cannot help remembering her own experience with betrayal. Riko cries and says that when she chose to be with Yudai, all she wanted was stability so she could raise Wataru. Was that really impossible for her son to forgive? But Wataru sees through the way she is trying to gain sympathy. He tells her not to keep making unreasonable choices. Minori slowly approaches Riko and embraces her. She says that even though she still carries resentment, she now knows that staying trapped in hatred only creates endless pain. After getting revenge on Yudai, Minori suffered under the weight of her own conscience. She understands that Riko, in her own way, has also been trapped in guilt and pain. Hearing Minori's honest words, Riko finally breaks down in remorse. Wataru embraces his mother and gently tells her to let go of the past and live properly. At last, Riko recognizes her mistakes and repeatedly apologizes to both Wataru and Minori. Soon, Minori returns to Suzuhara. The residents who believed the online rumors come to the cafe and apologize. They regret trusting lies without knowing the truth. Kotaro talks with Minori again. He tells her not to keep punishing herself. Now there is no real obstacle between her and Wataru. He encourages her to follow her heart and choose her own happiness. Only when Minori is truly happy, he says, can Tsubasa grow up with peace of mind. Moved by Kotaro's words, Minori invites Wataru to the cafe. She tells him she wants to live honestly from now on. She has decided to face her feelings for him instead of running away. Wataru is overwhelmed with joy. He holds her tightly, and the two finally speak their hearts without hiding. At last, after all the pain, they choose each other. But Wataru does not want to rush. He says his career foundation is not stable enough yet. He asks Minori to give him 1 year. In that time, he will become someone mature enough to stand beside her and support her with confidence. 1 year passes. Minori visits her mother's grave. She tells her mother about everyone's lives. Tsubasa and Kotaro's daughter are growing closer. Sarah's career is going well, and she has started her own business. Wataru has opened a freestyle educational school in Tokyo and achieved the dream he has worked toward for years. Seeing everyone move forward, Minori feels deeply grateful. Then Susumu arrives to pay respects too. Father and daughter talk quietly in front of the grave, their relationship much warmer than before. Elsewhere, Hiromi still refuses to fully admit her guilt. She now works as a cleaner under close supervision. Riko has finally let go of the love and hatred of the past and focuses on caring for her daughter Reika. Yudai does physical labor now and slowly learns to let go of obsession and treat others with more kindness. After visiting her mother, Minori returns to the cafe. Wataru is already there, quietly waiting for her. They look at each other with warmth and peace, and after years of betrayal, revenge, guilt, and healing, Minori finally finds a future that belongs to her. That's all for today's drama recap. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and share.